Journey with Judy.
Honest, open, transparent. It's hot.
There's no such thing as perfect people. There's no such thing as a perfect life. So come as you are, broken and scarred. Lift up your heart and be amazed and be changed by a perfect God.
Well, I lifted my heart and I was totally amazed that the light of the world has come again. Christmas is over. My kids lived despite not getting what they couldn't live without. The dog, the iPhone, the laptop, and the Facebook account. Their presence was my present. The six of us rejoiced on Christmas Eve. Maybe not the six of us, maybe just myself. And I believe that they were rejoicing. As we started off Christmas Eve by visiting the nursing home residents and the staff, we then went to Mass. We had family dinner, a family movie, and family game night. Bob and I prayed without ceasing and resolved ourselves to the fact that this Christmas we were not going to scream, "This sucks," as we have in many other Christmas Eves. It was not easy to have the six of us together and be life givers and celebrate the light of the world that was coming into the darkness the following day. It wasn't easy, but it was purposeful. And we celebrated the birth of Jesus with our faith, food, and fellowship. And it was phenomenal. I asked my kids on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate it? I got lots of 9s, and I dig that because it can never be a 10 because then there's never room for improvement. At one point, my son Carter goes, "It's 7 p.m. I should probably go to bed before this whole thing falls apart." It was awesome. It was a grace-based Christmas Eve for my family. The bummer for me was I got no gifts. I told you I hate not getting gifts. But yesterday, Bob surprised me with a gift. It was wrapped and it had a card that said, "This is to find where you are going, because it doesn't matter where you've been. Love, Big Daddy." That's what I call him. And guess what was in that gift? I got a Garmin. I got a Garmin. I got the GPS, the God's protective system. How ironic. Because that gift is kinda, a little bit, exactly what we're going to talk about today. So stay tuned. We'll be back. You are listening to Journey with Judy on Lake 96.1. Okay, welcome back. You are listening to Journey with Judy on Lake 96.1, and I thank you for choosing to journey with me this morning. I missed not being with you last week, but I do hope that you had a blessed Christmas. And now we're talking about starting 2012, January 1st. Where are we? Where have we been? And where are we going? If I read the letters I received in Christmas cards, I got to tell you, I'm in trouble. My family is in trouble. Because my Christmas letter would be entirely different than the ones that I received. You know, it's that time of year where we put under a microscope or look into a magnifying mirror, and it seems like all the imperfections in our life become glaringly obvious. In one year and out the other is our topic today. My Christmas letter, the Hehr Christmas letter, would be much different. It would be short, it would be sweet, and it'd be hot. It would say, truth is, we yell, scream, and swear. We hate more than we love. We're selfish more than selfless. We're at war more than peace. We have more pride than humility. We speak curses, not blessings. We're more ungrateful than grateful. And truth is, I feel like a failure most days as a wife, a parent, a person. Love the Hehr family. That would be my Christmas letter or my recap of 2011. A good indicator of the future is to look at the past. Yikes. Looking back at 2011, the blessings were amazing. But it's also an opportunity, a perfect time to change those things that weren't blessings for the people in our lives. And when we look at that magnifying mirror, have you ever looked at a magnifying mirror? For some reason, it obviously magnifies, but they even have them at different levels. Like you can get like 20 times the magnification. And I walk away from looking at that and I think, really? Is it that bad? How could I not see that in a regular mirror? And I think that's true of our life. I think there comes a time where we evaluate, we magnify, and we want so much to bring into the light those areas of darkness. And the light of the world has come, and in him there is no darkness. How many of you have made resolutions for 2012, whether private or public? Because it's a new year. It's a new you. Let's take it to a new level. A resolution, by definition, is a commitment that makes one or more lasting personal goals, or it's the reforming of a habit. Would you agree that making the resolution isn't the issue, but keeping the resolution is? What are the most common resolutions? You can Google it and it'll always be the same thing. I'm going to get in shape, quit smoking, quit drinking, get out of debt, volunteer more, learn something new. I'm going to get organized. I'm going to spend more time with my family. I'm here to tell you that anything in excess is rooted in emptiness. And if those resolutions are any of yours, then maybe those are truly areas that are not allowing you to live life in an abundant way. But here's the bad news with the resolutions. They're also defined as a to-do list for the first week in January. In one year and out the other. If you put an umbrella around it, all we're really saying is we want to get our life in order. We don't want to do it the same old way. We want to do something new. Studies show that we get more satisfaction as people just talking about it, like talking about all the things that we're going to give up. But here's the gig. Statistics say 45% of us make a resolution, which, P.S., that means 55 don't. 75% give up after week 1. 38% give up after month 1. And the bottom line is 97% of our genuine, I don't want to say desires, but resolutions never get fulfilled. Why? Are they too big? Are they too vague? Or are they unattainable? Because success in maintaining our New Year's resolutions have more in common with a fairy tale than with real discipline and growth. It's like a strong will versus a strong won't. And we've all heard the expression, like, what are you willing to do that you don't want to do? To have something you never had, you got to do something you never did. Because our lives change when our habits changed. But I'm guessing that our resolutions are grounded in our own flesh. Which is why we ourselves cannot get past week 1. There are areas of darkness that God absolutely, unequivocally wants to shine his light on. And I would rather walk with him in the dark than walk alone with him in the light. Because I know as I struggle with whatever I'm resolving to do in 2012. I know that if it was convenient, it would not be building my character. I know that somewhere I'm sitting between the promise and the promised land, and that I don't have to do it alone. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed. Sometimes a minor adjustment is all it takes for a major improvement. My resolutions this year are not about doing. All the things on the list I gave you has something to do with doing. My resolutions are about being. I know that anything besides the Savior is a substitute. I know that I constantly justify my behavior to myself and to others. And statistically, as a country, we complain more today than we ever did in history. So why are we not willing to do what it is that we really know we want to do? I'll tell you how to do it in 3 simple steps. So stay tuned. You are listening to Journey with Judy on Lake 96.1, and I'd like to thank the Cunis Country Auto Group for sponsoring our show this morning. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back. You are journeying with Judy this morning, and we are talking about our New Year's resolutions. What is going to make our resolve this year different than last year? Because 97% of the things we say we want never get fulfilled. I talked a little bit earlier in the show about the difficulties that my family has, just being honest, open, and transparent, how we fall down way more than we succeed as a family. I asked my family this year to commit to one thing. There's 6 of us. Each one of us said that we would commit to one thing that would better our family. Because I got to tell you, I know they would rather live in a more stable household. I can assure you. But no one's willing to do what it takes to make that happen. And so here was my list. Bob is bringing patience. I'm bringing prayer. Carter, mercy. Chan, respect. Kennedy, acceptance. And Campbell, peace. I got to tell you, if we resolve and commit to bringing just that one thing, not 100 things that are unattainable and unreasonable that set us up to fail, just the one thing that could make this world a better place, changes everything. And the bottom line is, it's not that we can't as a family, it's that we won't, and that we choose not to. So how do you do it? How do you do that which seems impossible? Well, the Word of God tells us to commit to the Lord, whatever you do. And whatever you do in different translations says your actions, your works, everything. Commit to the Lord, whatever you do, and your plans will succeed. It's a fact. It's the truth. And so as we bring these things or allow these things that are darkness in our life to be brought into the light, because that's why He came, how do we keep our resolve, which is simply a firm decision to do or to not do something? It's really simple. According to God, we commit to, we confess when, and we have confidence that. We commit to whatever it is. We confess when we blow it, and we have confidence that we are forgiven and we get back on track. I guess that's the difference between a saint and a sinner, they say. A sinner stays down and a saint gets back up. And it's only so we can be who we were intended to be. It's like they say, out with the old and in with the new. I don't want it to be a new year. I want it to be a new me. It's the do-over. It's the fresh start. That's for me is about spiritual, not achievement, but I don't know. It's not about achievement and it's not about advancement. That's not the right words that I'm trying to put to it. About being who I was intended to be. But that requires aiming higher and reaching further, believing stronger, and absolutely dreaming bigger. Because eye has not seen and ear has not heard what God has ready for those who love him. Like, who would have thought I'd be on a radio last year? Who would have thought some of the blessings that God has bestowed upon me and my marriage and in my family would ever have come to pass? It's so much bigger than you could ever imagine. And sometimes what we say goodbye to is the thing that we thought that we couldn't live without. But the reality is it's stopping us from living. And saying goodbye is a necessary life skill. Because when we're holding on to something, I want you to get that image in your mind of holding on to something. Most of us, when you're holding on to something, you have clenched fists. But in order to receive something, you can't have that. I used to teach the kids this prayer. It was so simple. It was like, God, take from me what you don't want me to have and give to me what you do. It was very simple. But it's not simple for us to receive what God wants because we're holding on so tightly to something that he doesn't want us to have. We got to let go and we got to let God. Because he tells us this is the way, walk in it. I said that my resolutions had something to do with being and not doing. The 3 things I want to resolve to do this year. Me, I told you what my family's doing, or what we're going to attempt to do as we commit to, confess when, and have confidence that. But me personally, I want to resolve to pray, resolve to love, and resolve to forgive. And that's just about more than I can handle for 2012. But I will visualize victory. I will recognize that those are areas of both strength and weakness for me. And here's what I know. I know the Lord gives me double for my trouble. So when I'm praying and I'm loving and I'm forgiving, I'm taking some really great risks. But I know that they will be so worth it. And when I refer to praying, do you know that just the desire to pray in and of itself is a prayer? It's not rocket science. And whether you do that in your words and your thoughts or your deeds, it's a prayer. It's a solemn request. It's just a conversation for help, for thanks. And when I say I'm going to love, that means I'm going to desire the highest and best good for the people in my life. Whether it's what I think is right or not. Because that's what love is. And forgiving, wow. Forgiving, by my definition, is to say, I forgive you and you owe me nothing. That'll be way harder for me this year. To resolve to pray, to resolve to love, and to resolve to forgive than it would ever be for me to quit smoking, drinking, losing weight, exercising. And not that there's anything wrong with any of those things, but I would be hiding from what it is that I know God really wants me to do if I spend time trying to do rather than trying to be all that I know he intends and desires, expects and anticipates me to be. And regardless of how things turn out, I know things turn out best for people who make the best of how things turn out. and that there are no shortcuts to any place worth going. Because it's in the struggle that we find out who we really are. And that when it's convenience, it doesn't produce character. I do not want those places of darkness to permeate in 2012 for me personally, for my marriage, or for my family. And anything, any person, or any situation that stops the abundant life that God has for me is considered a stronghold and considered an area of darkness. And the reason he came to be the light of the world was to shine the light into the darkness. And for those of us who are so willing and have been so willing to settle by compromising, I've said it before and I'll say it again, compromise does not lessen the tension. It only weakens our resolve. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed. And when you commit to, and you confess when, and you have confidence that, I can tell you this will be a new year on a new level and a new you. Thank you for choosing to journey with Judy this morning. We'll be back in a minute. You are listening to Lake 96.1. Our journey for this day has ended. And remember, the only journey is the journey within. And my prayer is that you resolve yourself to be the light of the world that this dark world needs. And know that God never hesitates in his relentless pursuit to shine his light into your darkness, no matter how far away we have ever pushed him. I'd like to wish you a happy new year and ask you to stay tuned to the best of Life Matters. So this week, keep it hot, honest, open, and transparent. Peace out. You are listening to Journey with Judy on Lake 96.1.